IITs are not meant to create engineers. ठीक है, IITs are meant to create leaders. First things first, they're not meant to create engineers. You have to become leaders, as in because you are not going to go at a level in any company where you will be taking orders all the time. Most of the times you will be giving orders or you will be supervising stuff. You will be telling people what to do. You will be heading a project. You will be in a supervisory leadership role from the very beginning of your careers. You're not.
A career like IAS requires a lot of grit and commitment. So, for the people who are on the fence about choosing IAS as their career option, what factors should they consider before choosing or discarding the career path?
Yeah, to be really honest, there's so many things to consider when you're considering a permanent career option. Because this is something which you are now planning to do for the rest of your life. So it is not a small decision. It is a huge. I call it the biggest decision. I mean, people call random stuff the biggest decision. This probably is the biggest decision of your life. Okay, so it's not something to be decided in 1 day or 2 day, even a week. You take your good amount of time. You do your research. Like I said, first hand experience जितनी चीजों में ले सकते हो लो, सब में possible नहीं है. Like how can you take first hand experience in bureaucracy? You can't. But there are certain internships which are available, which will give you some idea how bureaucracy works, how government functions. You get certain idea about it. अगर कुछ नहीं मिल रहा है, read about it at least on the internet. Read some books about it. That is there. But those people who are on the fence, I will again tell ki don't do it just because someone else is doing it. Firstly, obviously, because there is a group of people who will be preparing for UPSC, and even if you have slight interest, you will obviously be attracted towards it. कि मैं भी कर लेता हूँ. But that is not the right way. That should not how it is. मतलब वैसे तो decide करना ही नहीं है. That is the last way how you need to decide. Don't get influenced by some senior who कर रहा है प्रिपरेशन और तुम्हें एक दिन रात में बिठा के ज्ञान दे दिया उसने, तो तुम्हें लग रहा है कि अब मैं IAS बनूंगा अगले दिन से. डोंट डू दैट, बिकॉज ये हर तीसरे दिन किसी और चीज के साथ होगा. किसी दिन कोई स्टार्टअप का ज्ञान दे देगा तो स्टार्टअप करने का मन करेगा, किसी दिन कोई कुछ और बोल देगा. तो डोंट डिसाइड लाइक दैट. इट इज ऑलवेज बेटर टू डू योर ओन रिसर्च. एंड दोज पीपल हु आर सिटिंग ऑन द फेंस, आई विल टेल यू, ऐसा IAS is a wonderful career. Obviously, you get so many wonderful opportunities to do a lot of things, no doubt about it. But there are so many other things which you can do which are equally good. I'm telling you, there is no such thing that IAS बनके you will be like on some another level. ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. I mean, it is a good career, but treat it as a good career only. Don't treat it as you'll be कुछ ऐसा अलग हो जाएगा तुम्हारी लाइफ के साथ. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Right. So, like for example, if I was given a choice, I would still like to try and like I am still studying. I have actually enrolled myself. I am still studying MA Astrophysics. मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ उसको because I want to learn like things like that. I am also doing MA Economics side by side. तो दो courses मेरे साथ में चल रहे हैं. That there are equally good fields available, equally good career paths available, not just bureaucracy. So take a very in-depth analysis के बाद ही decision लेना है कि क्या करना है. Bureaucracy is not as simple as it appears. There's so many things which happen, so many things which are happening, which you will only be able to see when you enter. कितना भी research कर लो, you will not be able to see it.
How you went about your decision? Like you already mentioned that you took a lot of time deciding.
Yeah, जैसे मैंने बोला ना कि for example startups में तो खुद ही काम किया था. एक मैंने academics में भी internship की थी. ठीक है. Also gone abroad for internship in third year. IIT बॉम्बे में एक प्रोजेक्ट भी किया था. ठीक है. So थोड़ा थोड़ा हर सेक्टर का मतलब एक्सपीरियंस हो गया. मतलब कॉर्पोरेट का भी हो गया, कंपनी में जब इंटर्नशिप की, एकेडमिक्स का भी हो गया, बाहर भी जाके देखा है कि क्या है. इंडिया में भी अपना स्टार्टअप करके देख लिया. देन बट कैट और ये सब की आई वाज नेवर दैट अट्रैक्टेड टुवर्ड्स. बचा सिर्फ सिविल सर्विसेज. सिविल सर्विसेज के लिए आई इंटरेक्टेड विद अ लॉट ऑफ सीनियर्स. उनसे बात की, खुद बहुत सारी रिसर्च की, इंटरनेट पे पढ़ा काफी. मेट अ कपल ऑफ पीपल आल्सो. मतलब मेरे जो होम टाउन में, आई एम फ्रॉम गाजियाबाद, तो वहाँ पे जो DM और SP थे तब, आई वेंट टू देयर ऑफिस एंड आई मेट देम आल्सो. तो they were gracious enough to give me time. So but I went and interacted with them, tried to वो भी 10-15 मिनट में पता चल सकता है. I tried to ask whatever it was. So this much effort you have to do, because otherwise you will not be happy after you get into service. You will not be content also. कुछ भी छोटा मोटा होगा तो मैं लगेगा कि कहाँ आ गया मैं. After you do thorough research and you take that decision based on that research, and you actually want to do it, then you know कि okay, I knew this is part of the service. I knew this is part of this field होगा ये. You will not be caught by surprise most of the times. That's how I would suggest that anyone who's trying to take the decision follow this path if if possible.
Yeah, okay. So we were talking about IAS decision. Now let's move towards IAS journey. Like, can you guide us brief about like how you started on your preparation for IAS journey? Like you told us that you started on after BTech, and so for the
Yeah.
people who are interested in their BTech only, like should they start from there on?
There are both this. This is not a one size fits all solution नहीं है. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so it will vary from individual to individual how people are. I know for a fact I know, and you must also be knowing there are people who do everything and they are good at everything. There are people like that, right? But then there are people who want to do one thing and they want to give all their energy to that one thing at one that point of time. So it will depend on how your personality is, how you take things. Mostly, I would also suggest that when you're still in college, and more so when you're still in IIT Roorkee at least, don't do anything which will take anything away from your college experience. Well, that is ridiculous. That is a very bad thing to do, in my personal opinion, because you have worked very hard to get where you are right now. Also, first respect that. ID nikalna is also not a small thing. I mean, we all know for a fact that lakhs of students actually appear in this damn exam which you've cleared and you're sitting there, right? So it's a huge deal anyway. So you have to respect that. पहले तो 11th 12th में ये लगता था बस एक बार आईआईटी हो जाए, एक बार आईआईटी हो जाए, अब हो
Yes.
गया है तो पहले उसको तो एंजॉय कर लो. डोंट वरी अबाउट आईआईटी में आके भी यू आर स्टिल वरीड कि मैं पहले कैट कर लूँ या फिर मैं पहले यूपीएससी कर लूँ. मेक्स जीरो सेंस टू मी एटलीस्ट. नेवर डिड. So that's why I had decided back then that I am not going to waste my college life on this. जो करना है बाद में ही करूँगा कॉलेज के.
Okay.
And you can do it. See, because after college क्या है फिर यही है, फिर तो और तो कुछ नहीं है. After college you have to do these things only. If in college also you are doing these things, it makes no sense. So first advice is don't mess your college life, mess up your college life basically, and it includes your academics also. Don't mess up your college academics also. Anyway, it is very tough to get marks. यार. So why you want to, bring this UPSC वाला एक बोझ और क्यों लेके आना है? Otherwise, it will be very even tougher. So don't do that. So basically, if you, the best thing that you can do if you want to start in college is to get to know the service, get to know the exam, and get take an informed decision. उसके बाद start with very basic, like you can start reading newspaper, or you can start slowly. You can start with NCRTs. Don't go beyond this in your college life. It's of no use. For those who wish कि मैं college की graduation साल के साथ ही I want to clear the exam, you can start, but that too start in your final year. Don't start in second year, third year. If you wish you want to clear the exam with your fourth year itself, ठीक है, you can do it. But start in your fourth year. There is no point starting in second year and third year. You'll end up wasting both your college and your UPSC preparation. I know for a fact, first person experience है मैं बोल रहा हूँ. I have seen a lot of people do this in college. And some of them were brilliant people. 9 CGPA वाले लोग भी थे, 9.5 CGPA वाले भी थे. If I'm talking in academic sense, otherwise brilliant people were also there who were very good at a lot of other things. Not great at academics, but very good at a lot of other things. Very smart, genius people, but they were not able to clear the exam, even though they started in second, third year. You are not giving your best or 100% to anything. मतलब ना तो यूपीएससी का तुम ठीक से पढ़ ही पा रहे हो. What happens is when you start in second, third year, this is how our brains are wired. Okay, you start something, you do it well, good. If you don't do it well, it adds pressure. यार मैंने ये स्टार्ट तो किया था बट किया नहीं. ऑल द टाइम यू आर थिंकिंग दैट आई एम नॉट डूइंग जस्टिस विद दिस प्रिपरेशन. ये टॉपिक मैंने इतने दिन से उठा रखा है, खत्म नहीं किया. एंड ऑल दिस वाइल यू ऑल्सो हैव योर रेगुलर क्लासेस, योर रेगुलर एकेडमिक्स तो चल ही रहे हैं. यू ऑल्सो हैव योर रेगुलर को करिकुलर वट एवर यू डू इन IITs. ये सबके बाद एक यूपीएससी और ऐड कर लोगे then it is absolutely terrible to have this at that time. I have seen people struggling. फोन पे गाली सुन रहा है गर्लफ्रेंड से कि तो फोन ही नहीं करते, और उन्हें मैं फोन कहाँ से करूँ. वो बेचारा एक्सक्यूज दे रहा है, यार मैंने 4 दिन से एक एनसीईआरटी का चैप्टर नहीं पढ़ा है, तुम्हें फोन की बोल. तो बोलते मैंने बोला था क्या तुमसे स्टार्ट करने के लिए यूपीएससी. तो ये मैंने देखा है फर्स्ट टाइम, ठीक है. So don't do this. I mean, it will hamper all aspects of your life, and you'll not be able to see those people who do, as in who are able to do everything and still be good at it. Those are exceptions. ठीक है. Be realistic. Exception is not a rule.
Mhm.
Okay. Don't think that because he was able to do it or she was able to do it, I will be also able to do it. That's now that's not how it is ever. Don't treat things like that. You know yourself best. उसको ध्यान में रख के you take this decision. Alright. My advice would be to go very slow and chill in college. College life enjoy करो. Get a good decent CGPA because this exam is very unpredictable. It is quite possible that you are great, you have done great preparation, but you might not clear. तो फिर क्या करोगे? You will have to come back to corporate or academics or somewhere, right? उसके लिए तो CGPA चाहिए होगा ना. तो फिर so it is always advisable to have a decent CGPA. Then you have a backup built into your preparation automatically. You don't have to actively look for backups. ठीक है.
So, while preparing, were there any mistakes you would like to share with our audience that should be avoided during the preparation journey? And most importantly, how did you keep yourself motivated? This is also a second question.
नहीं नहीं ठीक है. See, mistakes, obviously there were so many mistakes यार. But the reason यही है कि one of the mistakes which I made was which I if I could go back would be that at the start of the preparation I talked to a lot of people. फिर मैंने start नहीं किया है. Like when I am researching about the exam, I talked to a lot of people, I read about it. But once I started preparation, I did not interact with anyone. I had not taken any coaching as such. So what happened? Whatever I was studying, I was giving myself feedback. I was only evaluating my answers. I was only doing everything. So वहाँ पे एक problem है because I did not get any second opinion on stuff. कि if I am on the right track or not, if I am on doing it the right way or not. So that was something which was a very stupid thing to do, plain stupid, because you will always have a bias in which you will find what you are doing is good. That is how we are. That is how humans are. You will not be able to find too many mistakes with yourself. We can justify even the worst thing that we do, right? So that was the worst mistake which I made. Like एग्जाम्पल मैं दूंगा, लाइक आंसर राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस. आई वाज राइटिंग आंसर्स रेगुलरली, डेली में लिखता था. पहले टाइम लगा के लिखा, उसके बाद फिर आराम से उसको इवैल्यूएट कर रहा हूँ. तो मुझे तो बड़ा अच्छा लग रहा है अपना आंसर रोज यार, तो बहुत अच्छा लिख रहा हूँ. तो उसके बाद जब फाइनली मैंने टेस्ट सीरीज ज्वाइन की 4-5 महीने बाद, तो देखा टेस्ट सीरीज में मार्क्स ही नहीं आ रहे. मैं बोला यार मैं तो बहुत अच्छा आंसर लिखता था, ये क्या है? व्हाट इज दिस हैपनिंग? देन आई रियलाइज कि भाई तूने आंसर लिखे हैं अच्छे हैं बुरे, बट किसने बोला अच्छे हैं बुरे? तूने ही तो बोला खुद को कि हाँ अच्छे आंसर. So then I started, यार नहीं, I should have taken feedback initially. And what happens? You are used to writing bad answers because you have
Yeah.
written for 3-4 months without any feedback. And now I am writing those answers like habit बन गई हो. So then it was very tough for me to उसको भूलना, to forget those mistakes which I have been making consistently for 3-4 months. So then rewire myself कि नहीं ये problem है, ये नहीं करना होता है, ये चीज़ avoid करनी है या फिर ये चीज़ add करनी है. So this is something which you can do. Try to have someone who can give you some feedback on how you are preparing. इसका मतलब ये नहीं that you have to talk to someone on a daily basis or on a uh, weekly basis, something like that. But every 15 days or 20 days, if someone can tell you, okay, if you are on the right track, what mistakes you are making, अच्छा रहता है. It's good to have a mentor as much as possible. Answer writing practice, and in these things, it is very important to have feedback. Like I said, because we are again very biased about how we write, and for me, for example, I have always felt that I write well. In general, I write well. So I then वो एक added bias भी था. यार मैं तो अच्छा ही लिखता हूँ, तो आंसर भी अच्छे ही लिखूंगा, तो ठीक है. बट देन वो दैट इज बिकॉज यूपीएससी डिमांड समथिंग एल्स ना. एग्जाम के डिमांड के हिसाब से लिखोगे, नॉट जो तुम्हारे दिमाग में आ रहा है. सो दोस थिंग्स के लिए इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. So these are some mistakes which I made. As far as motivation is concerned, yeah, how I kept myself motivated, I don't know how it will help anyone else because it is such an internal thing. The motivation is such an individual thing. It varies. My motivation is completely different than perhaps anyone else's. Why I want to join the service is completely different. So, but ये एक चीज है. It happened with me during JE also. It happened with me during this exam also. I have this very huge ego. Okay, you can call it whatever, but तो उसमें ईगो ये है कि uh, and I had this ego for myself. तूने decide तो बड़ा hero बन के कर लिया है कि you have to become an IAS officer. So so then that was my motivation. Like अपनी नजरों में बेइज्जत नहीं होना है. Because and I am not one of those person who will keep these things to myself. मैंने तो सबको बता दिया था कि भाई मैं तो IAS की तैयारी कर रहा हूँ. मैं नहीं placement. I didn't sit for placements, and I had a PPO also. I didn't go for that also. So and I was decent enough with English. थोड़ा बहुत I was a decent enough student in that sense, not in the strict academic sense. So I knew that I can crack this exam also. So I told everyone कि भाई मैं तो IAS बन रहा हूँ, मैं ये सब नहीं कर रहा हूँ. उसके बाद like I was like तूने सबको बता तो दिया है, ठीक है, और तुमने रिसर्च भी इतनी सारी करी है, मतलब तू इतना सारा आई स्टिल रिमेंबर एट दैट टाइम इन माय लैपटॉप आई हैड दिस 10-12 फोल्डर्स ऑन माय डेस्कटॉप. कोई भी आता था तो ये देखो, ये मेरी रिसर्च ऑफ IAS, जो भी मेरे से पूछने आता था मैं उसको दिखाता था, ये देख ले, इससे दिस विल हेल्प यू. तो बहुत सारा, एंड एवरीवन न्यू एट दैट टाइम इन माय बैच, एवरीवन न्यू कि हाँ भाई यूपीएससी से रिलेटेड कुछ पूछना है तो उसके पास जाओ, वो पागल हो चुका है, उसको सब पता है, वो बताएगा. So everyone knew. My motivation was this. I'm talking very frankly in this sense कि मुझे पता था मेरा सिलेक्शन में बहुत बेइज्जती होने वाली है. आई वाज लाइक कि भाई उस बेइज्जती से बचने के लिए पढ़ ले, लेकिन पढ़ ले. एंड एनीवेज रिसर्च की थी और सब कुछ था, तो आई एनीवे न्यू कि आई वांट टू डू दिस. वो तो था ही. बट दैट वाज आल्सो देयर कि यार देयर वाज नो लॉजिकल रीजन फॉर मी टू नॉट स्टडी नाउ. बिकॉज एक तो फील्ड अच्छी है, यू हैव रिसर्च वेल अबाउट इट, यू नो दैट यू विल बी हैप्पी डूइंग इट, यू नो दैट कि ठीक है, स्कोप है, एवरीथिंग इज देयर, वैसे भी अच्छा है. एंड देन ये बेइज्जती वाला एंगल तो था ही. ये दिस वाज माय मोटिवेशन टू. एंड सो आई 4-5 months I studied very hard. Initial 4-5 months after getting out of college I was studying very hard, like 10-12 hours every day I was studying. But वो इस 4 महीने में I completed the entire syllabus. So this was also another motivation. Like I knew that जिसके साथ भी मैंने इंटरेक्ट किया था, they all used to give me this advice. You study 6 hours 7 hours, इससे ज़्यादा नहीं पढ़ना है, और 8 महीने 10 महीने में प्रिपरेशन हो जाती है. This is the general idea which you get if you interact with anyone. और कोचिंग में भी यही बताते हैं, 6-7 घंटे पढ़ो, 8 घंटे 6-7 घंटे पढ़ो, 8-10 महीने में 12 महीने में प्रिपरेशन हो जाएगी. आई डिडंट लाइक दिस आइडिया एट ऑल. आई लाइक मेरे पास 8 महीने नहीं है, ना मैं दे सकता हूँ, ना मैं इतना पेशेंट हूँ कि मैं 8 महीने एग्जाम के लिए पढ़ रहा हूँ. भाई वो जमाना गया, IIT JEE वाली बात अलग थी, तब बच्चे भी थे, दिमाग भी नहीं था, लोगों ने बेवकूफ बना दिया, पढ़ लिए उन्होंने. तो बड़ा बोला कि 4-5 महीने से ज्यादा मैं नहीं बैठ पाऊंगा. सो आई हैड टू devise a strategy where I had like 4-5 months and I have to cover the entire syllabus in these 4-5 months. तो उसके लिए आई डिसाइडेड ओके आई गिव 12 आवर्स डेली, 6 आवर्स के दो उसमें बैठता था मैं बैचेस में. एंड देन आई यूज्ड टू सिट फॉर 4 महीने का टारगेट बना लिया था. दैट वाज अ ह्यूज बर्डन ऑन माय हेड. कि तूने बनाया इतना एम्बिशियस टारगेट ऑफ 4 months 5 months, हाउ विल यू अचीव इट if you're not going to study daily? So that was a huge positive pressure which was there on me. So, but after those 4 months, it was so peaceful. I'd covered everything. In the rest of the 4-5 months leading up to the exam, I was only doing revision and answer writing practice. And people were still covering their syllabus. I had a huge advantage over them. Oh, yeah. This is how it was.
अच्छा, जस्ट रैंडम क्वेश्चन. आपने लाइक यू आर एन इंजीनियर राइट, और आपने टेक फील्ड में भी थोड़ा सा काम किया है राइट. सो अब व्हेन यू आर एन IAS ऑफिसर, हाउ डज दैट थिंग हेल्प यू? राइट, यू आर एन इंजीनियर, यू वर्क इन टेक, डू
Yeah,
you know use those things in ideating something to work to some solution for some problem?
absolutely. So this is something which again is thrown at us a lot of times. ये तुम IIT में गए, तुम उसके बाद IAS क्यों बन रहे हो? Why are you wasting a seat? और there's these things are also said कि भाई तुम IAS बनना हो तो MBA कर लेते. Why did you go to IIT and all those things? The issue is this is wrong at many levels. I will tell you about a few things. एक तो ये कि IITs are not meant to create engineers. ठीक है, IITs are meant to create leaders. First things first, they're not meant to create engineers. You have to become leaders, as in because you are not going to go at a level in any company where you will be taking orders all the time. Most of the times you will be giving orders or you will be supervising stuff. You will be telling people what to do. You will be heading a project. You will be in a supervisory leadership role from the very beginning of your careers. You're not going to take like 10-12 years to reach that level. You start at a leadership role, even if you join an engineering firm or whatever. एक तो ये चीज है. So you are meant to be leaders. So that is why I feel कि ये जो criticism है that you wasted education is absolutely ridiculous. दूसरा चीज, how do I utilize my knowledge, whatever I've studied or whatever I've gained at IIT in my administrative field. Tremendous scope is there. I'll give you one example. Last last to last year, I was posted in Malda. Okay, so वहाँ पे I had started this project where we had started teaching rural girls who study in government schools how to code. एज एन तब तो वहाँ पे उस समय कोविड स्टार्ट ही हुआ था. Schools have started closing down. And at that place, it is such a remote area. वहाँ पे कभी किसी ने देखा नहीं है वर्चुअल क्लासरूम क्या होता है, वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग क्या होती है. ऑल दोस these very basic things are still not there. So at that place, I started teaching them how to code. We have collaborated with Google for that. Google had collaborated with us on the project. They have certified the students. They have certified the teachers. So it was a huge project. It got huge media attention also at that time. बहुत अच्छे से हुआ था वो. अभी भी चल रहा है. We started with 20 odd girls in one school. It was later expanded to 40 schools, and it will get even bigger as time goes by. So this idea came from my college days only. I mean, I myself knew. I'll tell you why, how it came from my college days. Like I was saying that we were doing this startup. And for that startup, I had to learn how to code. तो आता नहीं था किसी को तो सीखना है. So I decided कि I will learn on my own. So then when I was learning it, कहाँ से पढ़ें? So at that time, so many courses and all those things which are now available, these websites, Code Ninja and all those stuff, that was not there. It was still beginning. So I did a very basic research. I found out there is this program called CS50. Okay, it is offered by Harvard. CS50 is a very basic level introduction to coding program. They teach you coding the block base से start करके they take you through C and then Python and all those languages. So मैंने I took that course myself. But so the beautiful thing which happened was I knew because I've taken that course that anyone without any background in coding can be introduced to coding through that program. So, because how did it happen? Because I had tried this thing in IIT. I knew this. So then I knew that okay, this solution can be applied with these girls also. The only thing which I need to innovate here is perhaps the instructors have to teach them in Bengali because they don't understand Hindi and they're not that good at English. So I had to find some local teachers which were trained by Google instructors, and Google has their own curriculum. They call it CS First. So that CS First curriculum was translated into Bengali for these girls. They were started, they were taught coding. They made games. They made animated videos. And when you meet them, you cannot even imagine in the wildest of dreams that these girls will make, animated videos and games tomorrow. So that
Wow.
was such a beautiful journey to see that, and that happened only because I went to IIT Roorkee. Otherwise, I don't think I'll be able to think on this from scratch.
Yeah.
मैं उनको कोडिंग सिखाता हूँ ऐसा मतलब नहीं हो पाएगा. That happens because you have learned something in your own experience, and then you know how to adapt that old idea to this newer reality. You know how to modify and change that thing. So this was an example ki how you can implement anything which you have learned in your college life. It can be from a core field also. Like for example, in my current subdivision there is a huge problem related to traffic. A huge traffic issue is there. There are jams every day. So now if I have to come up with a solution, and I am coming up with a solution, and again in this solution there is this junior of mine from IIT Roorkee only who is helping me. उसका startup है एक which works on the solution of इसी direction में they work. So I reached out to him. I came to know about him through our network only. I reached out to him. So he is now working on a solution how to go about it. So again this has to do with my education at IIT. This is not something to do with anything beyond it. So that's how I'm saying there's so many things which you can implement and which you can do, which you learn at your college at our campus. तो ऐसा कुछ है नहीं.
I was just interested like in this thing, like how did Google came into the picture in that, like in the example one you
Yeah, so the idea behind it was कि ठीक है मैं लड़कियों को कोडिंग तो सिखा दूंगा. What after that? I mean, if I teach them coding, okay, I could now they have a beautiful skill. They know they can, but I wanted to give them certain exposure. The problem was that in that area, child marriage is a huge issue, and most of the times in child marriage, most of the victims are girls. They're married very early. Okay, then what happens when they're married very early, they become mothers very early, and this vicious cycle just goes on. Okay, so to break that cycle, I thought कि यार the biggest problem which is hindering this is if these girls have never left this place. Yeah? They don't even know that there's a huge world which exists outside this small town or this area, which has tremendous amount of opportunities for them. How do I get them out of this place? Then I got thinking, the only way I can get them out of this place is to introduce them to a skill which is not found here and which can actually put them on the map. Like coding, अगर कोई अच्छी coding करता है, a company which is sitting in California also will hire him. And even if it is the guy in some the remotest corner of India, they will hire him and they will pay him whatever he wants. So it is one of those skills. So I thought, why not I try this skill with them? So I contacted Google. My intention was कि अगर कोई बहुत अच्छे से सीखेगा तो perhaps Google will take them up for some internship or something like that. That was my original intention. But when we got, we started talking. So they were like, why don't you let us, train them? तो उससे क्या होगा कि we will be able to get involved with all the girls, not just the ones who do better and you tell us कि इसको ले लो. This way what will happen is we'll be able to train all the girls anyways the way we want, and then it'll be like our responsibility to train them well. So I was like ये तो और भी अच्छी बात है, करो train. I mean this is like a win-win situation for everyone.
Yeah.
So I said ठीक है, you train them, you certify them, but I mean because they'll be able to use that certificate in the future that you have been trained by Google and all. So they gave them a certificate also. They trained the teachers also. So and how they came about was I just messaged one guy on LinkedIn. He's a very top guy in Google. He's sitting in their headquarters in the US. I just messaged him on LinkedIn that this is I am trying to do here and I would need support from your team. He was gracious enough to reply. वहाँ से हुआ था.
Is it something that you're trying to change or improve in the system, or like what's your vision? What are your future plans?
Yeah, I have personally been very passionate about education sector. Like, I personally feel that education has a lot to do with our current situation and our problem. Although ये भी एक चीज़ है, I have seen many highly educated people who don't know anything or who are idiots when they as soon as they open their mouth. कहने के लिए degree है खूब सारी, but ठीक है, those are again negative exceptions. Most of the time someone who is well educated will be in you can assume कि उसको थोड़ी बहुत knowledge है, थोड़ा sense होगा most of the times. At least they will be willing to listen and they will be willing to modify their behavior. They will be willing to change also if it is pointed out that you are wrong most of the time. So I feel that education has a lot to do with our current situation and we should try to invest in that. तो उसके लिए I am trying to do something like एक बड़ा सा प्रोजेक्ट भी यहाँ पे हम लोग करने का सोच रहे हैं after this schools reopen. So after the situation ends, so I'm trying to do something with all the schools in my area. Education sector को लेके यार there are so many things like for example myself, I am highly interested in physics, but I also love philosophy. Now how do I study both these things in our current education system? It is absolutely impossible. Like if I cannot pursue it, both the things. After 10th, I have to choose either science or humanities or commerce or something like that. Choose करना है, कैसे pursue करूँगा मैं? तो उसके लिए I'm trying to bring this system in place in some schools at least where people are जो तुम 11th 12th में ले रहे हो वो पढ़ो साथ में, but then you are also given training in certain other skill set which you find interesting and appealing as much as what you are studying. So that is one thing which I want to do. Right, so इस पे कर रहे हैं हम लोग काम. There's many other things also, but mostly in education sector. You will hear about it as they happen.
Wow.
Very nice. So, okay, moving towards our last question about campus life. So, what was your favorite activity to be indulged in at IITR?
I used to still love playing football. Football बहुत खेला है campus में, football ही खेला है. ऐसा लगता है when I look back. My group was huge. Like we had 8 to 10 people in our group. So we used to हर weekend पे almost every other weekend ऋषिकेश देहरादून कहीं निकल जाते थे, घूम लेते थे. वो था. But campus की बात अलग है यार. You don't need to go anywhere. If you are in the campus, you don't need to go anywhere. It's a beautiful place. वहीं पे घूम लो, वही काफी है. So most of the times मैंने जैसे तुमसे बोला, मैंने यूपीएससी प्रिपरेशन सिर्फ इसलिए स्टार्ट नहीं की कैंपस में, because I wanted to enjoy my campus. Campus is beautiful in the night, ना, so you just roam in the campus. और कुछ थोड़ी करना होता है. If you have मतलब वही होता है, ग्रुप ऑफ फ्रेंड्स हैं तुम्हारे, घूम रहे हो तुम कैंपस में, वही मेमोरीज हैं। आई मीन कैंपस का सोचते हैं तो यही याद आता है कि बस वही रात का टाइम हो रहा है और भटक रहे हैं कैंपस में।
So you're
That is
still in contact with all your friends of
हाँ
that.
यार, वी हैड मतलब व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप है, उसमें 7-8 लोग हैं हम लोग, जो हमारा कोर एकदम ग्रुप था 8-10 लोगों का, बट अदरवाइज ऑल्सो बड़े बड़े ग्रुप्स भी हैं, दिन इतनी ज़्यादा बात तो नहीं होती है, बट जो मेन लोग थे 8-10 लोग ना, उनसे बात काफ़ी होती है। मतलब उनसे तो रेगुलरली बात होती है, रोज़ ही कुछ ना कुछ चल रहा होता है फिर तो। ठीक है, शादी वादी भी उन लोगों की हो गई, तो कभी कभी शादी वादी में भी चले गए, फंक्शन फंक्शन में भी चले गए, तो हो गया, या कुछ होता है तो मिल लेते हैं कभी भी। बट इट इज टफ यार, मतलब आफ्टर कॉलेज ना इट इज वेरी टफ टू रिमेन इन टच। वो सब कॉलेज में दिल चाहता है, देख के लगता है कि नहीं नहीं हम लोग भी मिलेंगे रोज, हर साल एक बार, हो नहीं पाता है वो, बिकॉज ऑल ऑफ अस आर बिजी। आई एम, इट्स नॉट लाइक आई एम बिजी, ऑल ऑफ देम आर बिजी, तो सो मेनी ऑफ देम आर यू नो, एक दो लोगों की पीएचडी भी हो गई है, मतलब सो मेनी लोग, people are so talented in IITs, we all know ना, सब लोग सब फोड़ होते हैं वहाँ पे, तो when they, but the only difference है वो कब फोड़ना स्टार्ट करते हैं, that is the difference। कुछ लोग कॉलेज में कर देते हैं, कुछ कॉलेज के बाद करते हैं, ठीक है। तो ऑल माय फ्रेंड्स लाइक आई नो, जो हमारा 8-10 लोगों का ग्रुप है, उसमें मतलब एक ऐसा भी है जिसको सिर्फ डिग्री मिली है, अगर उसका 0.1 पॉइंटर भी कम होता है उसे डिप्लोमा मिलता है, ऐसे भी लोग हैं, ठीक है। बट वो उसकी सैलरी अभी हम सबसे ज्यादा है, मतलब जितने भी लोग हैं प्राइवेट सेक्टर इंक्लूड करके बोल रहा हूँ, ही इज अर्निंग द हाईएस्ट अमंग अस। इसीलिए मैं बोलता हूँ यार, ये कॉलेज लाइफ को लाइटली मत लो, ये तुम्हें लग रहा है कि नहीं नहीं पहले बाद में कर लेंगे, वोंट हैपन, ठीक है।
थैंक यू सो मच सर।
ऑल राइट यार, ऑल द बेस्ट, टेक केयर।